Hello, good day. This is Fritz Edlinger speaking from Vienna, from International Magazine in Vienna. Today we will have an interview in English language with Dr. Mustafa Barghouti in Ramallah. Hello, Mustafa. Long ago that we have seen each other.
Yes, hello. How are you doing?
We try to survive. Even here, it's not so easy. But anyhow, we will concentrate today on the situation in Palestine, in Gaza, in the Middle East. And let me just jump into the topics. I think there was an interesting news in yesterday's New York Times, where they quoted some Hamas leaders. I quote, Hamas leaders say they waged their October 7th attack on Israel because they believed the Palestinian cause was slipping away and that only violence could revive it. How do you comment this?
You know my position. I am a supporter of nonviolence, and I always believe that nonviolence is the most effective way. And I don't support killing any civilian, whether Palestinian or Israeli. But what we live in now is really absolute catastrophe. The Israeli army now is conducting 3 war crimes on the Palestinian people. The war crime of ethnic cleansing, where 1.4 million people have already been forced out of their homes, which were destroyed completely. From the city of Gaza and the north of Gaza down to the south. Israel is hoping still to evict everybody from Gaza into Egypt. So the process of ethnic cleansing is going to be 3 times as big as the catastrophe in 1948 was for Palestinians. The second thing is that we are subjected to a horrible genocide. The Israeli bombardment up to now killed 10,500 Palestinians, including 6,000 children.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for the 30 Israeli children who were killed in the attack, but I was hoping to see at least one Israeli say that they are sorry for the killing of 6,000 Palestinian children. The world even does not condemn this kind of atrocity. And the third thing is that we are subjected to collective punishment. Israel is depriving Gaza, 2.3 million people, from water, electricity, food, fuel. 16 hospitals have stopped working out of 35 because of lack of fuel. We have children in incubators who could die at any moment because of lack of fuel and electricity. We have 1,200 people who could die because they cannot get kidney dialysis. We have thousands and thousands of people who are sick with cancer, with diabetes, with other diseases that will die or get worse because of no medications. And you have 50,000 pregnant women now in Gaza, deprived of food, deprived of clean water. 5,500 of them are giving birth. And some of them did that in the streets. Mm-hmm. And what worries me as a medical doctor is that we could see very soon an outbreak of very serious epidemics because Israel is not allowing fuel or allowing water into Gaza or the northern part of Gaza. We could see the spread of hepatitis. We could see the spread of dysentery, definitely the possibility of cholera. And for sure, other infections like measles, which will definitely be spread because there is a total suspension of all vaccination for children. It's a very dire situation, and the world is watching, allowing Israel to continue this massacre against the Palestinian people.
Yes, so I would like to concentrate on 2 issues you mentioned both. Let's remain in Gaza, but from another point of view. I think there were even rumors, more than rumors, information that the Israeli government could have a very clear plan about developments in Gaza, what's going on in the future. We published even on our channel a report on that, saying that the aim of the Israelis could be to evacuate completely the Gaza Strip, to take it over. And there was already, we published it even, there are even detailed planning about the second Suez Channel, which reached the Mediterranean exactly where Gaza Strip is now. So what do you think about this? Could this be one of the hidden agendas of the Israelis in this situation?
It can be, of course. But what I can tell you for sure, based on facts, is that Israel wanted to evict all the people of Gaza completely. And that's what Netanyahu said. In the third day of the operation, I think, or second day, he said, every Palestinian in Gaza must evict their home. He didn't say where to, but there are two options, as you know, either the sea or Egypt. And his spokesperson, the military spokesperson by the name of Richard Richt, made it clear in a statement that became the headline of Yedioth Ahronot, Israeli newspaper. He said that every Palestinian in Gaza must evict their home and go to Egypt. Of course, that created a reaction from the Egyptian side, who thought rightly that this is a violation of Egyptian national security. And because of the stand of Egypt and because of Palestinians not wanting to become refugees again, since 70% of the people in Gaza, as you know, are already refugees from the ethnic cleansing in 1948 by Israel. So because of that, they moved to Plan B. And Plan B is bombard, destroy all the houses, all the homes, all the mosques, all the clinics, all the health centers, and force people with bombardment, with the genocide, to leave the northern part of Gaza and the Gaza city. And I think their plan is to annex them to Israel. Netanyahu made it clear when he spoke at the United Nations, weeks before this war started, where he showed the world the map of the new Middle East, as he said, for the 50 years to come, where he put in green all the Arab countries he wants to normalize with, and then Israel in blue, including the annexation of the Golan Heights, which they already annexed, all of the West Bank, and all of Gaza. That was his map before this war started. So I think he believes that this is the way to go. And he just declared that Israel will maintain security control over all of Gaza indefinitely. That means reoccupation of Gaza. And that makes me think that they are doing exactly what Einstein described as insanity, and that is to keep repeating the same thing and expecting different results.
So, this reminds me that especially here in the Western countries, even here in Austria, everybody's still mentioning, okay, two-state solution. We are supporting this project, which is already almost 80 years old. And but yesterday I saw a short interview with Gideon Levy that he said also to a German station that the two-state solution is dead since years, and there is no two-state solution. There are only two options, he said: apartheid or ethnic cleansing. So what is now the right answer of the Palestinians?
Look, the two-state solution was killed by Netanyahu personally and his Likud party. This man came to power specifically to kill the possibility of peace based on two-state solution and to kill any potential for a Palestinian state. That's what he wrote in his book in 1994, The Place Under the Sun. And this man aggravated the Israeli public against Yitzhak Rabin, who signed peace agreement with Palestinians, till an extremist by the name of Israeli extremist Yigal Amir assassinated Yitzhak Rabin. And since then, Netanyahu made it his mission in life to kill the possibility of a Palestinian state by expanding settlements, by bringing fascists to his government like Smotrich and Ben Gvir. And Smotrich said it very clearly that the Israeli plan, he said it once, immediately after they became ministers in this government. He said that the Israeli plan is to fill the West Bank with settlements and settlers so that Palestinians would lose any hope of a state of their own. And then they will be left with one of three options, either to immigrate, which is ethnic cleansing, or accept a life of subjugation to Israelis, which is apartheid, or die, which is genocide. Now in Gaza, they are leaving Palestinians between one of two options, either genocide or ethnic cleansing. I do believe that the two-state solution was killed by Israel. If by a miracle, somehow, you have Bernie Sanders as the president of the United States of America, and he comes to Israel and tells them, remove all your settlements from the West Bank and let Palestinians have a state, and we'll have American and international troops on the border so that you both feel secured. Without removing settlers from the West Bank, the two-state solution is dead, especially that they are now reoccupying Gaza. And some Israeli ministers say they should resettle in Gaza after bombarding it with a nuclear bomb. By the way, they already used a nuclear bomb in terms of power, because the amount of explosives thrown on Gaza in 4 weeks is more than 30,000 tons of explosives, which is much more than the nuclear bomb that was thrown on Hiroshima in Second World War. Anyhow, I do believe that it's one of three options. Two states that they killed, apartheid, which we have, or one democratic state with equal rights for everybody. To think that we, the Palestinians, will accept ethnic cleansing as our fate and we will stop struggling for our rights is a grave mistake. People should remember what happened after 1948 catastrophe. And I think if Israel uproots Hamas, there will be other people in the future. And remember that Fatah was established because of what happened in 1948. So they assume that Palestinians will simply subject to capitulation is a totally wrong assumption.
So you are part of the Legislative Council, which is still existing but having no real. So what's your idea? What should let's say the Fatah or the Palestinian autonomy? What should they do now?
They should unify Palestinians. They should not keep this situation of division. And I think the war we had recently was a result of the fact that we did not have democratic elections in 2021. If we had elections in 2021, neither Fatah nor Hamas would have gotten a majority. We would have had a pluralistic democratic system where no one-party rule would be existing neither in Gaza nor in West Bank. And maybe we would have had a different situation than what we have today. But Israel was adamant against Palestinian free elections. The United States, great country of democracy, did not support elections. And the result is what you see today. And that's why I think what we see today is a result of the fact that Israel was telling Palestinians, we will continue to annex your land, we will continue expanding settlements, we will take away your future, and we will normalize with the Arab countries, and your question will be finished. And of course, that is one of the reasons why we have this terrible situation. But also, this is one of the fact that we do not have, as people, the right to govern ourselves or to elect our leaders is also another factor. And now they have the guts to speak about such a horrible thing like Palestinians need a custodian now. Somebody who comes from outside to rule us. I mean, This is Israel's way of saying, I want to reoccupy Gaza, but I don't want to take the responsibility of the humanitarian needs of the people I occupy. It's well known. And that wouldn't work. We've tried already the mandate of the British Empire, which led to the creation of the settler colonial system. And we're not ready to accept that again.
Good, but this reminds me that there was already once, you were even minister in this short few months acting unity government, 2007. And then with the active support of the US, European countries, the Western countries decided, okay, we don't accept the democratic elections which brought Hamas into the government. And this was the beginning of another split. So do you have any chance now, or do you see any possibility on your side that there is, I don't know with whose support, a dialogue which could create a new political situation with elections, with a unification, or is this a hope maybe in next year's future?
It all depends on Mr. Abbas and the Palestinian and the PLO. That's what we've been calling them for. We issued a statement 3 days ago, and today there is another statement signed by many Palestinian leaders and intellectuals demanding that Mr. Abbas calls immediately for a meeting of all Palestinian groups. And that would lead to the creation of a unified government and a unified structure. That's the only way that could save us from this colonial strategy that is used against us, which is the strategy of divide and conquer. And it is now the responsibility of Mr. Abbas to do so. If he does it, that will be something that the public will appreciate. If he doesn't do anything, I think that will affect dramatically his popularity, which is very low already.
Yeah. So we have to come to the end, since I'm speaking from Vienna, from Europe. What do you expect from the international community now? I think in Europe, I have to tell you, but I'm sure that you know it better than me. In Europe, there is full solidarity with Israel, even with this Israeli government, knowing who is in this government. So there is a real backlash when it comes about two-state solution, Palestinian rights. What should be done on the Western side to support any dialogue?
What we see in the West is a great disparity between the people's position and the government's position. It's not new, but it's the largest popular uprising worldwide, even bigger than what we've seen during Vietnam War or during the war on Iraq. It's an issue between the peoples of your countries and your governments. But the Western governments, many of whom, I don't put them all in one basket, because I think that the Spanish government and the Norwegian government and the Belgian government have taken very reasonable positions. But many of the governments, especially Britain and the United States, have taken very strange and shameful position of refusing even ceasefire when they see the slaughtering of Palestinian people. That, to me, is cannot be understood. And this total bias to Israel sends two messages. First of all, you cannot claim to be a mediator at any time in the future. And second, that the world today is not governed by international law. It is governed by the law of jungle. And the best comparison to that is to compare the Western positions in Ukraine with that in Palestine. In Ukraine, because you said that Ukraine is fighting occupation, You give them $224 billion of equipment. You send your advisors. You host the Ukrainian refugees. You do everything. But in Palestine, the United States is sending $14 billion to the occupier. And many countries are sending their ships and their military arsenal to support the occupier. That means there is no law in this world. It's about what each government decides. If I was a European, I would feel very worried, because that means those who have power can do anything. Didn't anybody learn from the Second World War? And how can some countries who in the past allowed anti-Semitism against Jewish people and allowed the Holocaust against Jewish people, the most horrible thing, how can they allow another Holocaust for the Palestinian people? It's the same mentality, the same mindset. And you cannot justify it by saying because they are Arabs or they're Muslims, although we are also Christians. Nothing can justify this attitude and this behavior. And there will be consequences to that.
Yeah, I think we have to finish this. There were many other issues we could discuss, but anyhow, we have time limits. So thank you very much, Mustafa. Yeah, by the way, for people who missed the introduction, this was a talk, an interview with Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. He is still member of the Palestinian Legislative Council, which he called for new elections right now. So, but he's still a member of this elected council. He is the founder and chairperson of a small left-wing national Palestinian National Initiative Party. And he, as I mentioned, he was once for a few months even minister in a Palestinian unity government, which was finally split between Hamas and Fatah. So, and by the way, he's by profession medical doctor, and he was the founder of the Medical Relief Organization, which is still very active NGO in Palestine. Mustafa, thank you very much for this very interesting conversation. We will keep in touch, and let's hope that there will be a chance for compromise, and even we will work on our side in Europe. As you mentioned, there are few positive examples. Unfortunately, the majority, even in the European Union and in the international Western countries, are just with Israel, but we will work on it to fight for equal rights for anybody, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Arab, Israeli, European, wherever he or she comes from. In that sense, all the best, and we keep in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much.